Hello and welcome to our series of videos helping you with in-person networking. So how do you succeed at a business networking event? The main thing is to go in with the expectation of building relationships. And you build relationships by being authentic, asking open-ended questions, and actively listening rather than hard selling. That's what my last live was all about. The other thing is to make sure that you follow up afterwards. Now, I'm a very busy networker and I'm the worst for following up. And what's the point of going to a networking event if you don't follow up afterwards? So, follow up afterwards promptly and strategically to convert that initial connection into lasting relationships. Because if you go networking, you just chat to people there, you're also easily forgotten. Life takes over. We all have family things going on and we all have business things. I'm trying to do flow charts and everything for synergy networking events at the moment. So you can do as much preparation beforehand if you want to. You can set goals, research the event. There's so much you can do beforehand, but if you don't follow up, then in a way, it's not worthwhile going. So it's really important that you do actually follow up. So, you could do research on the people maybe who are booked in, if you know who's booked in. That's worth doing before the event. It's always worth arriving early. I've always arrived early. In fact, once I got told to go and get a coffee because I was too early. I was sent out of the room, uh, yeah, quite decisively. So, be early, not too early. Um, and being genuine and being yourself really helps to build trust and really helps to build long-term relationships. Sometimes you'll go in, I've been running this business now for just over a year. I've known people for over 20 years and they still haven't attended one of my events. And I have to say, sometimes I'm a bit like a little girl, who hasn't had a sweetie. I feel so disappointed, but don't be, because everyone's got things. They've got relationships with people already. They've been going to different networking events for years. Why should they stop going there and coming to mine? I'd like them to come and have a try, but at the end of the day, if you go in as an accountant and you're looking to get new business, you definitely need to build that relationship with people. You need to tell them what it is you can offer that maybe their person they've been using for the last 20 years maybe can't, or be ready to step in when their accountant retires or there's a buyout or something like that. It's not a quick thing, but just remember that if you focus on others, ask open-ended questions and show an interest and encourage conversation from them, then you'll find that during the event you'll enjoy it so much more. We spoke about actively listening at the last event. You must pay close attention to what people are saying. And some people take notes. We provide the opportunity for people to take notes at our events. And it's really good to take that away and just, have it as a memory jogger. It's really good to do. Don't go in and hard sell. Now, I've told this story many times. When I ran a dating agency, I used to go in, the first thing I used to say is, "Are you single?" Can you imagine how off-putting that must have been? I mean, if you're an accountant, then you go in and you'd say, "Hi, do you need a new accountant?" That was sort of what I was doing. And you just don't do it. You go in and you're not going to make an immediate sale. So go in to build connections. That's what the purpose of networking is all about. It's a bit like social media. And I used to say to people when they signed us up to do their social media, it's not going to happen immediately. You're building relationships online. Someone's going to come along, they're going to look at your profile, and they do it with, even with products now, with TVs. They go in, they look, they watch, they make sure they understand how it works. And then they'll buy. There's so many touch points now. It's not a case of going into the, hardware store and you've dealt with the guy for the last 20 years. You've grown up and, he's sort of slapped your hand a couple of times. Life isn't like that anymore. It's a very busy world and you've got to build relationships. So I aim to keep conversations between sort of, 3 and 5 minutes, and maybe suggest continuing the dialogue on LinkedIn. So, there are ways that you can link to people on LinkedIn immediately, or, give them a business card, but you're probably better off getting their business card so that you can then find them on LinkedIn and on the other social media channels. And what you can do is you can go in, you can help them by actually commenting on their social media. That would really help them. And it's really great that you can do that now. It's such a big advantage to be able to do that. Follow up promptly. Send personalized emails or a LinkedIn message within 24 to 48 hours and thank people for their time. Thank them for speaking to you at the event, for giving you the time. There's nothing worse than standing there all alone and nobody coming up and speak to you. And having to go up and interrupt conversations, that's not a great one either. So connect on social media. That's why it's good if you have their business card in your hand, and stay in touch and use it as a virtual sort of business card. You're going in, commenting on their posts, and it doesn't have to be a long comment, but if you make a comment, they see you're staying top of mind with them. And then maybe after you've sort of linked with them a few times on LinkedIn, liked a few of their posts, maybe um, suggest a meeting where you can have a coffee, or they might run their own events. We have a lot of collaborators who run their events at ours. Maybe go to one of their events afterwards and stay in touch. Regularly engage with them, whether you get them to subscribe to a newsletter or, as I say, you communicate with their social through social media. It doesn't matter how you do it, but definitely stay in touch with them. It's so easy to lose touch, particularly when you're out networking all the time. So really hope that has helped you with if you're going into networking for the first time, or if maybe you haven't been getting a lot of success at networking events. Maybe you're doing what I did when I first started networking and going up and just doing that bang, get in there, sales pitch straight away. And go in, be authentic and listen. That's so, so important. And as I say, we encourage that at our events. I'm sure there's lots of other business networking events out there that encourage listening as well. So we look forward to seeing you again. And if you've got any comments, please, leave them underneath this video. Take care. Have a fantastic day.